Friends and family of DiamondTrail Ranch, how are we doing today? If you are new here, we're a family learning and growing on our little homestead in Central Florida. We raise animals, we plant fruit trees, we build the backyard orchard here in the kind of front yard technically. It's kind of backwards with the way our goats are and stuff. One plant at a time, though, literally one plant at a time. Today we're talking about one of the most underrated, I really think it's underrated, tropical fruits you can grow at home. It's called the Barbados Cherry. I'm sure that's why you guys are here, because that's what you clicked on, right? It's also known as the Acerola Cherry. Acerola? You tell me, guys. How do you say that correctly? It's this guy right here. We planted ours a few months back. It's been doing great out here in Zone 10. Zone 10A specifically. So I figured this would be the perfect time to share everything we've learned from soil, watering, fertilizer to pruning. You can see some new growth on the end there. Show you guys what it's looking like right here. I don't see any leaf miners or anything like that. It's looking good. Got some more new growth up top. It is currently, we are making this video towards the end of October. So there's actually compost underneath. There's a mulch ring there. There's compost underneath the mulch ring, and then of course the mulch and some old grass on top there. Slow feeding stuff, right? And this is the Barbados cherry we're talking about. It is a tropical evergreen shrub that produces bright red cherries that are absolutely packed with vitamin C. It's actually got about 30 times more vitamin C than oranges. It's pretty amazing. It's a superfood. These are native to the Caribbean and South America, and it absolutely loves warm weather, especially humid weather, kind of like the bananas and stuff I got going on back there. It's also very fast growing, and it's self-pollinating. It's borderline set and forget, really. If you got it in a nice sunny spot like we do, you can see that there. Even one single tree right here will give you fruit multiple times per year. This little guy right here, which is what, 3 feet tall, you can get a harvest 3 to 5 times. That's right, 5 times per year once it's established, especially down here in Florida. Barbados cherries also thrive in full sun, so choose a spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. And if you're growing it in a pot, you want to use at least a 15 to 20 gallon container so the roots have plenty of room to spread. Personally, if you got the room, stick these guys outside. I love putting orchard stuff outside. You give the root system, such an amazing amount of room to grow. The main thing is, I will say that Barbados cherries, just like the Jamaican cherry I have over there, do not like cold wind or soggy soil. Neither of these do. So if you live somewhere that dips below 40 degrees, keep it near a wall, patio, where it's protected. It's not really going to get like that here in Zone 10A. Or just bring your container tree inside on cold nights. Also, like I said, right here, you can see it clear as day. In 10A, you can literally put it straight into the ground, and it'll grow into a dense, glossy shrub about 6 to 8 feet tall, which is pretty amazing. They'll get, a nice little privacy area for you. It's fantastic. It's kind of why I staggered the orchard the way that I did too, and the banana trees and things like that. So it's really cool. Again, they don't like to sit in any water. They like well-draining soil. Well, you want to get them in a nice sandy, kind of loamy mix of native soil with compost, maybe even a little perlite. We didn't do that. Ours is native and compost with some mulch, old grass. I'm actually looking forward to fall in the way that everything here operates, as far as we get an immense amount of dry leaves and dead leaves and compost here, so it's fantastic. Most of these guys in the orchard here are using old horse manure, which is fantastic. So the key is consistently, though, with Barbados cherries, with water specifically, they don't like to sit in water. Like I said, they stay slightly moist but not soaked, preferably. In our Florida heat, which was scorching this year, we broke records this year. We water ours at least 3 times a week, unless we get a heavy rain. There's signs that it's thirsty. You'll see leaf curling, which ours is actually doing pretty well right now, considering it's not too bad. It's getting cooler here. It's in the 70s. I think it's probably what is it right now? Low 80s, I think. But it was the feel like temperature here in the zone 10A. It's 115 degrees, guys. This stuff is growing in 100, over 100 degree feel like temps. So that's why most of the stuff I'm going to show you guys on this channel is going to be tropical plants, because that's what we do here. If the soil, I will say again with the consistency, if the soil dries out too much, you'll see the leaves start to droop. They do bounce back though fast when you give them water. I actually might take some of these guys off the ground, because you never want, see how these guys, some of them are touching the ground there. Or I can stake that guy up to get him up, to lift him up. He was actually split when we bought him originally at the base. I'm amazed it kind of fixed itself there, which was fantastic. So you can use different fertilizers. They're quick as far as, we got a little friend. Hey, spider friend. There's lots of different fertilizers. You can use a balanced 839, 10, 10, 10. About every 6 weeks during the warm season, I would suggest, from early spring through early fall. You can also go organic with compost, worm castings, or fish emulsions. Ours is pretty much always organic. I will say that we did splurge. I say splurge because it's unnatural for us. And we got citrus fertilizer, which works on almost all tropical and subtropical plants. Just double check with your plants and what you're doing. We don't need that yet. Obviously, this thing is green and very, very happy. The leaves are not curled. There's no disease on it whatsoever. It's been chilling. So if you do start to see any yellowing leaves, which thank the good Lord we do not on this guy, but it's common practice what I'm about to tell you, with any yellowing leaves on any plant really, it's going to probably need a boost of iron or magnesium. Not for the Barbados cherry. Some guys need nitrogen or phosphates or whatever, but this is specific to Barbados, especially in sandy Florida soil. Wherever you are, sandy soil doesn't do a very good job of holding on to nutrients. So you want to make sure you have that you want to mix it. When you're using sandy soil, mix it. If you're sticking this thing in the ground, make sure before you just stick it into the flush with the native ground, put a little compost at the bottom of it first. That's what we do. And then put the plant on top of that, because it's a nice feed. It's a slow feed. We can sprinkle also a spoonful of Epsom salts. That's a really common thing to do as well. And a gallon of water, and you can pour that around the base once a month. That'll help keep the foliage a nice deep green. You can see the nice deep green here. I love that new growth. New growth is such a motivating thing with these gardens. After every feeding, you want to give it a slow, deep watering to help the nutrients soak into the root zone. You never just want to water it for, like a sprinkle. You don't want to be short with your waters. You want to do it, like I said, 2 to 3 times a week if you're not getting rain, and you want to do deep soaks because you're getting down into that root system. Pruning is simple with these guys. The main goal is to keep it bushy and open in the middle, so sunlight can reach all the parts of the plants. You want to trim off any crossing branches, which obviously you can see here. I have some core guys here that do need to get, like right there. Those ones will be getting trimmed off, pruned, we call that pruning. Anything in the core there, if you're growing it in a container, you can prune harder, to keep it compact. Literally though, the more you trim, the more it branches. So it's going to give you more fruit the next season. So, you want to give them a shape up, kind of like a haircut. Any of these bushing guys, any of the orchard stuff, kind of like this tangerine over here. Actually, the core of it is the same kind of way. You got that, the way the centerpiece is getting kind of clustered there. You want to trim up that inside stuff because it'll start to get not good airflow. It'll take it disease and things like that. That's with any of these. These trees bloom with clusters of small pink flowers, and within a few weeks, you'll start to see tiny green cherries forming. Very cool. From flower to ripe fruit will take about 4 to 6 weeks. You'll know they're ready when they turn bright red and feel slightly soft when they are squeezed. If you do wait too long, they can fall off and you'll be feeding your squirrels. I'm kind of kidding there. The flavor is tart and tangy with a tropical sweetness. They're very, very delicious. These guys are perfect for smoothies, jams. You can literally eat them right off the tree. These guys are underrated. Like I said at the beginning of this video, these guys are underrated. The good news about Barbados cherries and pest control and troubleshooting them if you got issues, they're pretty pest resistant, to be honest. Especially if you have spiders living in them like I just did, right? That'll help. I'm kidding. You might see aphids or whiteflies on new growth now and then. You can spray them with light neem oil, horticulture soap, mix once every couple weeks. If you do notice any bugs, neem oil is crucial. If you have any kind of orchard or any kind of plants that you're going to be eating from, remember, you're not the only one eating from them. The birds, the squirrels, the bugs are going to be eating from them as well. So you do want to watch for leaf miners or black mold after heavy rain. Good airflow from pruning usually prevents that. I will show you guys what leaf miners look like because I actually have some sitting on this lemon tree somewhere. See, no, I think it's the tangerine that's got leaf miners on it. I'll show you guys what leaf miners look like, and then you just trim them off, get rid of them. I know I trimmed this. I pruned this the other day. It's got some good tangerines coming in. Actually, I don't know that it's kind of like this. You see the way it's curling and they got those white. It's going to have like white line. There you go. There's a good one. That right there is leaf miner damage. They live in that. So you want to just cut it off. Neem oil helps with that too. Anyway, back to the Barbados, because that's really it. You can see the size of it here. It's doing great. They're beautiful, fast growing, one of the most rewarding fruits you can plant in a warm weather garden. If you're thinking about adding one to your orchard or even your patio, give it a shot. You'll be harvesting these vitamin-packed cherries before you know it. They're almost set and forget. If you already have one of these, drop a comment below. Let me know how yours is doing. And don't forget that we post new long-form videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to try to stick to that schedule there. So it'll go really well for you guys. Have a good one.